everyone. So I'm not there in person, but I am there in spirit, and I'm here to walk you through setting up your gradebook. When you log in, either through stt.org or through the FAWeb login directly, first thing you want to do is come to settings and make absolutely certain that you are in the correct academic year of 2014-15. Some folks might be back in 2006-07 if they're new to St. Tim's. Sometimes the system throws you back a good, 7 years. Some of you might just still be in last year. Just check it, and please, and be sure you go there. Next thing I'm going to have you do is come to your gradebook, and I'm going to make sure that you are going to assign, I'll find it. Maybe I should have done this all first before I started the recording. You can all laugh with me. Excellent. Tracy's here laughing with. Here we go. All right, so what you're going to do is, here's what I'll show you. I did it too fast. Assign marking column weights to classes. See how I hover over gradebook? Come on down. In the second section, assign marking column weights to classes. Click on that. And it'll take you to a page that looks like this. Everyone with me? I'll wait for you. Someone help. Harvey. No, I'm kidding. Love you, Harv. Here we go. Choose the only option you have in this first column, which is the final marking column. And then choose your very first class at the top of your drop-down list here. And in the last section, choose the only option of final. Now, you've just done this for one class and you've assigned the final system. Basically, you've told the FAWeb to factor trimester 1 is 30%, trimester 2 is 30%, trimester 3 is 30%, exam is 10, and that would make the final 100%. If you just hit tab or click new, same thing, choose final, and now choose your next class from your list. I only have one class, so I can't demo that piece for you, but make sure you have a row for every course. If you do what I just did and have an extra row for your course, because sometimes at the end we get all happy and a roll, click this little gray section at the beginning of that row, and then click on delete, and say yes, and then make sure the number of rows you have here matches the number of courses you teach. Last but not least, you must save. Please save over here on the right. So that's one of, I think, 3 things we need to do. So someone might want to pause this and then we'll pick back up once everyone's caught up. And we're back. Okay, so this is fun. Here we go. Next thing you're going to do is mark grades ready for registrar. So again, hover over gradebook. In the top section on the right, choose mark grades ready for registrar. And what I want you to do is choose trimester 1 up here first and click change all to ready and then save up on the right. And your whole list of all your courses should switch over to ready and then click save. Then choose trimester 2, change all to, click the word ready. They should all change to ready and click save. Repetition is fabulous for us, so we're going to do trimester 3. Change all to ready and save. Feel like I need a little drum beat. Exam. Change all to ready and save. Final. Change all to ready and save. Woohoo! Now, a note. Pause break. If for some reason, and every once in a while it has to happen, GATA has to create another class later in the year to accommodate some level changes or things like that, these 2 things we've just done, you need to come back and do for that new class that's added. So after today, if you get told you've got a whole new class and you see an added class in your, which usually just means girls within the same room just getting a different differentiation, a different name of course on their transcript, please come back and take these 2 steps of first, assigning the marking column weights to classes, and second, marking grades ready for registrar. Okay? And if you forget and just know there's something you got to do if you get a new class, just come say, Heather, what was that thing that I had to do if I got a new class? And I will walk you through it. I am happy to do it. It is not a bother. Please come. It'll save us hassle later. Promise. I promised you 3 things. Oh, did you pause? You might have wanted to pause it for everyone to get caught up. Someone help someone else. Yay. Okay. Final thing is under gradebook, and You can decide as departments, if you haven't done so already, about your distribution of your categories, but I just want to walk through the adding categories, editing categories, and make one last point. You know, I always like to talk about the value of using the comments for factor here. Come back up. So here we go. Edit categories, and make sure that this, after you edit categories, you choose trimester 1. This is where you want to, after you've talked with your departments about your distributions, decide what, for example, tests or papers or something else, you know, discussions, if they're talking about, if you're grading, you know, the seminar discussions, sorts of things, are, you're going to break out these different categories and define them. You cannot add an assignment until you've created a category. So, because categories are built first and then assignments on top of that, and then you put in grades for the assignments. I recommend that you not drop any assignments at the beginning of the year in any category, because if you do, the system won't calculate any grade with the first grades in, unless that's really what you want to do. We don't really use grading scales, so skip that. And you can choose to leave default maximum points empty and just change that yourself, or if really tests are always going to be, you know, out of 100 or 50 or 22 or whatever it is, you're welcome to put in a standard number there. But as you go with each test that you create or each paper that you create, you can always override that default and make it appropriate to the current assessment. No worries. Next thing is that we've kind of classically made sure to use assignment averages here, and also at this little ticky box up here on the left to choose that. And the factor is where you factor that in. So factoring is where, for example, in the math department, these tests might be 50% or 5 out of 10. I'm going to put 50 just for the sake of argument for the moment. And let's say quizzes. Corrado was just talking about quizzes, right? Quizzes in our department are, changing this to averages, quizzes are 10%. And notice how automatically the percents of grades here on the right are updating, so that of all the categories so far, right now this is the distribution. But I'm going to keep adding things such as coursework. Coursework, which for me means classwork and homework combined. Again, don't drop any. Assignment grade averages, and that is 35 maybe. And I might have a participation of 10%, or I might have a participation of 5%, or we can discuss that, and I'm sure you all are or have today, and we will more. We'll come back to it. Again, notice how in my enjoyment of clicking tab and going through, I have an extra row here. If I only have 4 categories and I end up with an extra row, just click on the gray here at the beginning of the row, and then click delete, and OK. And this, for now, is what I'm going to work with. Now, all of that was work to show what, especially if you're a new faculty member, you need to do. If you're a returning faculty member and you're going to use the exact same distributions and everything as last year, or only going to tweak one piece of it, what I recommend you do is, if you're doing just one thing different, set up the first class, and then copy it to all the others with the revision. Or if you're doing anything exactly from last year, you can copy from up here on the right a previous, whoa, that's a different place. You can do copy class setup somewhere else. I'm sorry. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up trimester 2. I'm going to say this and copy it from trimester 1. So let's first do that. Let us copy the same category percentages. And again, if you have not decided your department's distribution of this, don't do all this now. You can come back to this later. You can come find me later. We'll work it. No worries. But since I'm fairly confident this is close enough and I can come in and easily make any changes, I'm going to just copy from trimester 1 into trimester 2 and 3, and then save, of course. All right. You used to be able to copy class setups, and I don't see it. So we will leave that alone, and what I'm going to do is quickly throw in one quick assignment, edit assignments, and I paused it. No, I didn't pause. Okay, I'm back. Quick reminder, got to speak quickly, I'm running out of time. Created a class here, an assignment here called coursework. It's my IB Learner Profile Characteristics first assignment. Keep sliding over, this is important. You must show the students the assignment. So I'm going to show it to them on the 8th, for example. We don't show grades, and I need a due date for the assignment as well. But that's actually, no, that's up here. Student's due date up here. Oh, I'm over it. Oh, I have 15 minutes. Good. So student date first, enable Dropbox. That's something you can choose to do if you want students to load documents through a Dropbox within FAWeb, within their net classroom. Uniquely give them a shortcut name, put in points for the assignment. Factoring, this section is for if you give an assessment that you want to count, say, double a coursework thing because it's taken more time, several days of work, not just one day of work, for example. You can factor something higher. You can't use decimals though, so whole numbers only. A description of the assignment, and make sure you show the assignment so students can see it. All right, we're going to hit save, and I'm going to get to my point about comments. So now I have this. If I click on gradebook, I just go straight, it gives me the grades, and see this assignment? If I hover over it, oh, this is in trimester 3. All right, make sure you go back to try 1, folks. I'll fix mine later. I just need to make a point. So let's say, Isabel, Eve, I'm just putting in random grades. It's really valuable to, on an assignment, especially if a student's done remarkably unique work in a certain direction, if she's particularly struggled for a specific reason you want to recall later, or done some really specifically, well, or showing a real acumen with a certain skill, or if you want to make a note about what it is she needs to work on, particularly if she didn't score well on an assessment, to help you with your formative conversation with her. It's great to add a comment. So up here on the right, I clicked edit comments. And then for Miss Eve Amons, I can say, numeracy got in the way of process, effective process, etc. I might, write something like that to help me in my conversation with her. Once I do that, there's this great little green shading that tells me that there's a comment on that. And that is a comment you need to know that other faculty members and therefore students and advisors and our folks in the CLT, everyone can see. So make sure your language is, good for public audience. But it's also really helpful for you when you're going to write comments at the end of the trimester to have sort of this, assortment of things that you've commented on throughout the trimester that really helps you look at how the student has grown and what input she's taken and what maybe input she's not taken and needs to still try to work on and those sorts of things. So I think that sums it up. You've probably heard enough of my voice. Good luck. Catch me when I'm back. If you are having any trouble with this, I'm happy to help, and I'm sorry I'm not there in person. You're in good hands. Help each other. Love to all. Bye.